They had the owners meeting. A lot of stuff came out of that. We got news Deshaun Watson's about to start his throwing regimen. Ken Dorsey and Kevin went out to LA to talk to him. So what are your guys' thoughts with that? I want to address, I've seen some things like people like, why did the coaches have to go see him? Why didn't he fly to us? Well, first of all, like, the coaches are perfectly capable of going out there. You don't make the person who just had surgery jump on planes and fly across the country. That's where all of his doctors are. That's where all of his rehab is. Like, no, it's okay. They're big boys. That's part of their job. They can go out there and visit him.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that. Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard a lot of that, Nick Chubb's rehabbing every day in Cleveland, and why isn't Deshaun in Cleveland? I don't think people fully understand the life in the offseason, or maybe just the life in general of an NFL player. You don't live in the Cleveland Browns facility year round. When the season's over and it's the offseason, guys go home. I mean, you're kind of, it's fend for yourself. If you want to work out, you work out. If you don't, you don't. Like, you are on your own schedule as soon as the season is over. So it's no different for a guy like Deshaun Watson recovering from injury in the city where he had his surgery, where his rehab team is, where his surgeon is, his doctor, everything. So all that stuff online I keep seeing is, I don't know, that's wild. I feel like people need to, I don't know, get out, open your minds a little bit. People don't understand that this is a job. Yes. Do you live at your job? If you know what I mean? Like, if you have a bad day at work, do you just stay at work longer to make up for your bad day yesterday? No, you clock out and you go home. Like, it's a job for these people. So yes, he doesn't live in Cleveland year round. He went and he had surgery and he's out there with his doctors. Like, one thing doing this podcast and talking to some players and one thing that is to open my eyes a ton is, like, it's so much different when you're in the league than the fans' perspective. Like, these people don't live it. And hey, somehow my child just broke in here. So I didn't even know she could open doors. So, hey, we're going live. You want to say hi to everybody? Somebody just turned 2 yesterday. So happy birthday, yeah. Sophie. Yep.
Hey, all right. Well, somebody else talk so I can say hello to my
Go
child.
ahead, Justin. What do you think about that? Deshaun throwing stuff.
Yeah. No, I think well, hey, what's up, girl? Get on there. Say some things. Tell us how you feel. Yeah.
She's got that shoulder motion. See, she's good to go. Get her out there.
Well, this is live TV, guys. This is live. What happens? All right, you're going to go with mom, okay?
This is what happens whenever... The reason we're not in the studio tonight is because I had to get my kid tonight and threw a wrench into the whole schedule. So that's why we're at our houses and, well, kids.
Yeah, no one's broken into my room yet, so things are looking positive, I guess. So that's good. I think just touching on what you guys were talking about too, like with the coaches going out there, I think it just solidifies everything that you hear as far as like conversation and stuff. Like the conversation and the, back and forth with what the coach is saying as far as in communication with each other, like on the daily and making sure that they're all on the same page. I think it just kind of solidifies that. You have a new offensive coordinator, they all are implementing their ideas into what they want to do. You have your QB1 who's going to be a big part in that. So I think it just solidifies all that.
I think it's another thing. It's in line with the whole Greenbrier thing where they take the team away from the facility and they go do their thing and they get together. Kevin Stefanski, Ken Dorsey, they could have just waited until the team got back together later this spring. You know what I mean? To bring Deshaun Watson, get him acclimated with Ken Dorsey. But they went ahead. They took a trip out to LA to meet with him, sit down, just hang out. They had dinner. I can't remember if they attended the throwing session or if it was just the Browns training staff that did that. But either way, Stefanski said that, Dorsey and Watson hit it off. Dorsey's a former quarterback. So he said when you get two quarterbacks together, they usually hit it off pretty well. And it's all good things. I don't know what I feel like people are scratching and digging and clawing to find things to be mad about with the Browns.
It's off season. It's off season. Everybody wants the drama. Everybody wants.
We've had years and years of it, and now it's like, well, things are actually really good. Better find something to be pissed off about.
Yeah, as a fan base, we just can't just chill the hell out for 2 seconds and just be happy. It's not like we just made the playoffs and like regardless of how it happened and ended, we can't just chill out and just progress into the next season on a positive note. We have to just be super negative and just hate every move that the GM or the head coach or whatever has done. It's kind of frustrating sometimes. Sometimes I wish I just could go like LeBron James 0 dark 30 for the rest of my life with Browns fans, but I just choose not to. So, but it is frustrating. But it's the off season. People need something to talk about. Free agency's over pretty much. So here we go.
I think my next solo episode is going to be why can't we just be happy?
Never.
I think that's going to be my episode because, and I don't want to do too much here because like it took me this long to think of another idea for a solo episode. But if you just go look at the success that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski and the Browns have had in the last 5 years, they're right up there with some of the best teams in the league in terms of what they've done. I saw a stat today, only the Chiefs, Cowboys, and one other team, I think the Bills, have more 11-win seasons than the Browns in the last 4 years.
Yeah, that's right.
So so it's like, I don't understand. First of all, people are like, we haven't won any playoff games. Well, that wasn't these guys. Were they supposed to come in and turn a dumpster fire into a perennial playoff contender they were supposed to go to the Super Bowl the first year they took over, or else it was a bust? People are just, and we're going to get into like Cade York coming back and like it's wild to me. Like, I don't understand. And you say off season, but it's even in season stuff that's just crazy. But
yeah,
I just want to take a second. This has been a very rough start to the episode for yours truly. So hopefully no more technical difficulties. Although you guys got to see my child and she's pretty cool. So you guys,
she is very cool. Yeah, very cool kid.
I can't believe she's never opened like a door before from scratch. It must be like turned 2 years old.
Well, now you got the moment on video too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's documented forever for everybody on YouTube, all you weirdos to look at. So where are we? Have we gotten into Njoku being out there yet?
No,
we have not. No.
So I thought it was really cool that David went out there, and I don't think he's going to be the last player to go out, but he went out there specifically to help with his rehab. Correct? I'm not making this up.
That I can't.
Or did he go out just for the podcast? I had heard he had gone out there because he's going to throw with them, like he's going to be. But I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe that was just
maybe Twitter he was part of that throwing session too. I'm not sure. I know that he went out there definitely to hang out with them and just basically just be a teammate. And that's what he went out there to do. And we've been talking about David forever now about how he has just embodied Cleveland. He is a Brown. He is the ideal, the stand-up model of what a Cleveland Browns teammate needs to be. And here he goes out to LA to, see how his quarterback's doing and lift his spirits. Because you got to remember too, there's a lot of mental health stuff that goes on when you're recovering from injury at any level, but especially at the pro level, because first of all, you get all the negativity. You've got your own mental, you're trying to recover. Your body's injured. You're not able to do what you were doing before. You're trying to recover from that. There's just a lot of stuff going on. And I thought it was cool that David went out there to be with him.
Yep. And he should have his own podcast.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining.
Yeah. So I know we have a clip Njoku talking with Deshaun on this podcast we wanted to play.
Yeah. Here's the clip.
But no one knows how hurt he really is. Like, we don't know. I knew how hurt he was, right?
And the team did.
The guys on the team, but you hear all these other people like, oh, he's soft. He's not really doing this, that, and the third. How do you as a teammate be like, making sure people know, like, no, we know. Man, we know our guys really, you know what I'm saying?
And on some real shit, man, 98% of things that happen to us, to Sean and myself or whoever, nobody knows. And that's what hurts the most because, you have a guy like Deshaun who is literally, I mean, listen, I keep it real, right?
Keep it a bean.
I've had a high ankle sprain before. That bitch hurts like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That shit hurts so bad. I couldn't walk. I thought I was a big old macho man. I couldn't do nothing. He tore shoulder, right? Tore my shoulder. And had a high ankle sprain in the same game and still beat the juggernaut Ravens. You know what I mean? That's something that people don't really like comprehend the right way. You know what I mean? And seeing all that stuff on social media and stuff, it's sad because it's the saying ignorance is bliss. In this case, it's not really bliss because you don't know, and it's you don't know all the efforts and stuff, but being done behind closed doors that we do, that he does. You know what I mean? So it's tough because I know he's strong minded, but that you just don't like seeing that, especially when you're giving it your all for a city.
Good stuff.
Love it.
It's all good points. We don't know what these guys are going through. And this is why I always get so mad when I hear fans online talk about how he's a bad teammate and they were so much happier with Joe and all this stuff. And it's like, no, but everybody in Cleveland, from front office to coaching staff to players, they've had nothing but great things to say about Deshaun, the teammate. So to say that they don't want to play with him, that's BS. You're not in the locker room. You have no grounds to make that statement. You're just going off assumption, off personal bias. You have no idea what you're actually talking about. It drives me nuts. Everybody in this locker room wants to play with Deshaun. Some of the guys in this locker room are only on the team because we have Deshaun. Okay, and I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that to date the trade has been what we wanted it to be. But we knew a suspension was most likely going to happen. So you had to factor that in. And an injury, it sucks, but it happens. If he's hurt every single year of this contract, yeah, you can call it a bust, but it's not because of play. Like, he can't help it, he got hurt. And I've said it before, the best ability is dependability. So far, he hasn't been dependable, and you can use that as a knock on him if you want. And I've used it on a knock on people, and I've used it to knock on this trade so far. But getting injured is beyond people's control. I never played professional sports. I'm injured like half the year. So, and you have no idea what these guys are going through, how much pain they're actually playing. And you hear players who have retired talk about how it's hard for them to even walk anymore. You know what I mean? So I like how Njoku kind of put that out there, because Deshaun was never going to put it out there. He was never going to come out and say, you guys sound stupid. Do you have any idea how hurt I actually was?
Right.
Because then people be like, oh, this guy's just looking for the sympathy card. So I like that Njoku went out there and did it for him. Like, that's what a good teammate does.
That is what a good teammate does, a good leader. And, in comparison, talking about guys getting injured, I don't see anybody out there saying Nick Chubb's soft or that he's injury prone or, he's the third highest paid running back in the league. Oh, well, that's a waste of money right there. He's just stealing money from the Browns sitting on the I think people just have their own personal insecurities for whatever reason, and they just like to project that onto other people.
I agree. I honestly, for the first time in my life, I love that there's no noise from the team and the organization. I love that it's just locked tight. I don't care about what everybody else in the media and fans are saying. I could care less. If you want to, get a narrative or make up what you want, that's fine. People are bored. It's the off season. It's fine. But I love that you don't hear nothing bad coming from the team, because in the past you did. You had head coaches just talking at press conferences about players. That's a locker room thing. But yeah.
No, I think I see things online all the time too, like how Stefanski hasn't come out and said who's going to call plays yet. He said, they're going to make that decision later down the road. And this guy on Twitter is like, he's making this a bigger deal than it needs to be. But somebody said, no, he's not. The media is.
Yeah, you guys are.
And he's like, no, he's like, every other team we know who's calling. Well, who cares? It doesn't affect your life. You know what I mean? I don't care what all the 31 teams do. You know what I mean? It's whatever we want to do. And if it's not a bother to them in the building, I don't give a shit what you think as a media member, if you want to know or not. Turns out you don't fucking matter. So, and in the past, it would have been leaked. We would have heard,
for sure.
Oh, they're not coming out and saying it, but Stefanski doesn't want Ken Dorsey to call plays. He's going to keep, there would have been leaks everywhere, and we would know everything. I love the fact that the media is in a tizzy because they don't know the inner workings of the team. It means that finally, where it's a cohesive unit, one mind, they're all together and they trust each other. There's no backstabbing, there's no talking, there's no leaks, because they're all there for each other for the first time in maybe my life. Yeah. There's always been leaks out of Cleveland. People have always, for the first time ever, guys like Grossi and all these guys, they're trying to drum up narratives and start drama, and the team just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Just whatever. You do what you say, whatever you want. I literally don't care what you say. We know what's going on inside this building. Either you're with us or piss off. And I love it.
Me too, man. I think it's great. If you're a Browns fan, you're not just enjoying what we have in Cleveland right now. After decades of having the total opposite, come on, guys, you got to enjoy this. These are good times.
Yes, we have We have one of the best young GMs, and you can argue if you don't think he's a good GM, but your argument is invalid. Okay, he's seen across the league. He's one of the best young GMs in the league. Not just young, just best GMs, period. And then you have a coach who's been coach of the year 2 of the last 4 years. And that doesn't happen by accident either. And that's voted on by not just Browns fans. It's voted on by people around the league that recognize what he's doing. So for the first time in our lives, we've craved stability. And now that we have it, it's not stable enough. Or it's not exciting enough. It's like we're never happy. We can't be satisfied. Good isn't good enough. You know what I mean? They gave us an inch, now we want a mile. It's super annoying.